Hey everybody, I am going to quickly do a demo for making a perfect little salad greens planter. Starting with one of these apple containers I got at Costco. As you see here, they have a clip. And they have all these little round pods that you can use to fill with dirt and make into a little greenhouse. I'm going to set this on top of the compost pile. It's something I'll probably go over later on in this episode. And let me start out by telling you how to turn this into a planter. Alright, first things first, you have to decide what side you want to use because they're different. This one has this little square spot which is a label space for the required federal information they need to include about the product. And then this is a label space that they use for their own label on top. Now if you notice, this one is connected to 3 round pods, so this gives you a very large space. This one is only connected to 2. Since I would like to grow a lot of some of these greens, I'm going to choose the side with 3. And that's probably where I'm going to put my wild arugula. Alright. And I'm just going to prep this now. I'll finish this off later, but for you it'll just be a few seconds. So, because we're using this side with the bigger space as one of our grow pods, what I need to do is I need to poke holes in the bottom of each of these little apple domes, and then I will fill this up with dirt when I'm ready to plant. Now, I have a sharp implement. It is a paring knife, and if I have younger viewers, which I don't know if I do, make sure that you have somebody old enough to use one of these to help you out. But we just start with one of these pods, and I'm going to change views here so that you can see what I'm doing from my perspective. Alright, I have the apple pod in front of me, and we're just going to start by poking a small hole. I don't have to do one-handed. I'm just putting the knife in once because I don't need a whole lot of holes. I just need enough to drain. Each round section will get a hole. I'm going to set you aside so that I can do this without hurting myself. And then I'll come back when I'm ready to plant. Okay, now that I have this prepped, I'm going to fill it up with this Eco Scraps potting mix. I'm a huge fan of this company. They are fairly local to where I am. They're in Arizona and I'm in Colorado. And they take consumer waste food from their town and also from Costco's and other places, and they turn it into soil through composting. So it's like what we do, only on a much bigger scale. Really awesome. And it contains a variety of, they claim, something like 26 or 28 different sources, vegetable sources. Now I'm going to use up this partial that I have here, and then I'm going to go to the other. And this partial has some leftover Spanish moss from a plant pot in it, so that's not part of the soil. That's just something that I added because I had to put it somewhere and I didn't want to waste it. So you just fill up the pods, and let me change angles so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I have not planted yet. I've filled it with soil, and all I'm going to do right now, because I don't have enough time to finish this now, all I had enough time for was to punch the holes and fill it with dirt. So I'm going to close the lid, and I'm going to stick this in my garage. I will come back later, and I will plant this and stick it on top of my compost pile, which is nice and warm, so it will have a little microclimate in that space, and hopefully the greens will come up beautifully. Okay, so I've gotten out my greens seeds: Tom Thumb lettuce, wild arugula, spinach mustard, iceberg lettuce, and Grand Rapids lettuce, and this is some white mustard seed that I have, and we're going to put them into the container we prepped the other day. This container that we prepped the other day needs labels before we put anything in anywhere. So let me go ahead and label it, and that way we have an idea where we're going to plant things. Okay, now all we do is we take our seed packet, and this is one of mine. This is a seed that I gathered from untypical sources, not typical sources. I got them from my spice cabinet. But we sprinkle the mustard seeds in. We know that I'm not going to use all of these because this is a ridiculous amount of seeds, but they don't come out of a spice jar as easily as you think. And we'll see if these are viable. I hope they are, because it'd be cool to grow some brown mustard seeds. And we just mix the soil around, get them buried, and for the most part, like so. And there, white mustard is done. I'm going to go through the rest, and you're probably going to see that at like a ridiculously high speed. But I'm going to go through the rest and get the rest of the seeds planted. By the way, the writing that I did on there, I didn't use a regular Sharpie. I used one of their Rub-A-Dubs. It's waterproof, so it won't wash off in the rain, which is good. But here we go. Alright, there we go. I've got all the lettuces planted, and all I need to do now is clamp it shut and put it on top of the compost pile so that it can take advantage of the microclimate going on outside. The rest of these seeds I will put back into my binder, and I will keep them safe until I either have a failure here, let's hope it doesn't happen that way, or it gets later in the season so that I can plant more. I do want to make sure to have a spring crop and a fall crop. That way I have fresh lettuce twice a year. And that's at least the plan. Okay, so that was filmed in May, early May, something. But at any rate, obviously you haven't seen any lettuce. That's because bad things happened to the container. Apparently animals like to play with those and took it and threw the dirt all over the place, and so no lettuce, not yet. When it starts cooling off, I'll plant more lettuce. I'm probably going to stick them under my peppers or corn or something, but I will have lettuce later in the year, not now, because the seeds that I planted, bad things happened to them, as I was hoping. Crossing my fingers they wouldn't. But that is the end of the lettuce mini greenhouse episode. I think it's still useful, which is why I'm still putting it out. But thank you again for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. And as always, happy growing.